Hey everybody, today I am in Fishers, Indiana, and specifically I'm in downtown Fishers, so if you can hear some noise, some construction noise, just know that I'm pretty close to it. But this video, it's being shot in December, and it's going to give you a little bit of a progress report on some pretty big changes happening in the downtown area of Fishers, and not just the downtown, but kind of extending to the north and the south of it. So if Fishers is on your radar as a place to live, and especially the western part of Fishers, then you're probably going to want to know what's going on here, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with the Compton Home Group. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel, then make sure you hit that subscribe button if you want to know everything there is to know about living in a place like Fishers, Indiana, or Indianapolis, Indiana, or any of the surrounding metro. Also, make sure you tap that little bell so you're notified every time I do a video, each and every week. And we have people reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about places like Fishers, Indiana. Also, all the surrounding suburbs in Indianapolis itself. So if you have questions at all about any of those areas, then don't hesitate to reach out any way that you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions, and we'll certainly have your back whenever it's time for you to make your move to the Indianapolis metro. So as I said, I'm in Fishers, Indiana, and specifically downtown, and this is kind of a timely video, or one with a little bit of a timestamp on it. So it's December 2020, and this year in 2020 marked a pretty big change in the downtown area. In fact, you can see behind me there's a lot of changes going on right now. Downtown Fishers has exploded. I can't even tell you how different it is from just 6 years ago or so. The whole downtown area has really gotten pretty cool, and it's very walkable. There's quite a bit to do down there. The Fishers Amphitheater, of course, is right downtown, and it's just a place that's kind of become the cultural heart of Fishers. But one big thing that Fishers has really lacked over the years as it's grown, because Fishers is closing in on 100,000 people now, so it's a pretty big city. Carmel next door is a little over 100,000 people, so it's starting to rival that. Now, it's of course nowhere nearly as large as Indianapolis is, and it never will be that big, but it's a pretty big city for being a suburb of Indianapolis. So Carmel and Indianapolis both, and in fact Westfield even, they all have the Monon Trail. So the Monon Trail goes north to south, and it's over 20 miles long, and it starts essentially pretty close to downtown Indianapolis. The Monon Trail doesn't specifically go all the way downtown, but you can catch some other trails to get right in downtown, but just off Mass Ave, which is kind of considered that part, and that's a big popular spot for restaurants and nightlife and living, in fact, and there's some cool neighborhoods around Mass Ave. I've done some videos about those in the past. But you can start on the Monon there, and you can take it all the way up through Indianapolis, and it'll go through some of the prominent neighborhoods in Indianapolis, like Radian Kessler and Broad Ripple, and then north of Indianapolis through Carmel, through the Arts and Design District in Carmel, and then all the way up through Westfield and north of Westfield. So it's insane how long it is. So I've actually done that before. I've parked in Westfield, and I've ridden my bike all the way down into downtown Indianapolis, which it's a pretty good long bike ride. It was over 20 miles one way. We goofed off a little bit, and then we rode back. So, it took a long time, but we've got that option. And the cool thing about the Monon Trail is that, you don't have to live right on it to enjoy it. You can actually live someplace off to the distance, a little further away, and drive to it, park, and then use your bike. You can run, you can walk, you can do whatever you want to do to get onto it and get to other places. Well, Fishers has kind of lacked that. It doesn't have a trail like that. So what I'm walking on right now from the downtown area toward the south, and you can see some runners that just went past me now, probably wondering what I'm doing. This is the new Nickel Plate Trail. Now, right now it's extremely raw. There's really not a whole lot of stuff to look at, but it's here, it's brand new, and it was paved really just this past summer. So it's not as long as the Monon. It's gonna go from 96th Street all the way up to 146th Street, and it'll be extended into Indianapolis at some point past 96th Street, because that's kind of the border between Fishers and Indianapolis. And then when you get north, well north of downtown, past 146th Street, you get into Noblesville, and it'll be extended through there. Now, what this used to be is the Nickel Plate Railroad. It used to be train tracks here, and they just really weren't used all that much recently in the past 20-ish years or so. About the only thing that would ever run here on these train tracks would be the State Fair train. So you could actually get on the State Fair train way back up here, downtown Fishers. You could park there and pay to get on the State Fair train and take it south to the fairgrounds, which wasn't a tremendously long train ride, and it's just down the State Fairgrounds, close to 38th Street or so. And so up here downtown Fishers, that's 116th Street, and you would ride the train, and it was kind of a novelty thing. It was really fun. I've done it certainly before, but that was it, and that was about 2 weeks out of the year. The rest of the time they just sat idle. So the tracks were pulled up, and that was actually quite controversial. There were a lot of people that wanted to keep the train and keep the tracks, and then of course others wanted a trail like this where it could kind of mimic the Monon. But the plans for this trail are pretty tremendous, actually. It's a long plan. There's a master plan that will take 21 years, at least is projected, to complete, but every single section of this trail is essentially going to have a theme. So there'll be things to do along the trail, there'll be artwork along the trail, it'll be extremely visual, and just something that's going to add to the cultural heart, once again, of Fishers and making it its own and creating its own personality. A couple of the highlights of it, back there at 116th Street, it's going to be helping to make the downtown area of Fishers more pedestrian friendly. So 116th Street is a very, very busy street. And what you could actually see up there is a tunnel being dug under 116th Street. That's something that's going on right now. So you'll be able to go north or south in this trail and not have to worry about any of the traffic on 116th. You can just go right underneath it. That's pretty nice. And then of course, all through there, you're gonna have restaurants and shops. There are already some right now, but as the years go by, there will be more. And so all of these neighborhoods that surround this trail, you're gonna have easier access to those shops and restaurants by this trail. So if you get a nice day like today in December, it's a gorgeous day today, so you could ride your bike, you could run, you could walk. You don't even have to walk 2 or 3 miles. You could drive somewhere, park in a neighborhood or park in a parking lot off the trail and walk a short distance on the trail to the downtown area. So you're gonna have just a lot more options. But as you get further south on 96th Street, that once again is another really busy road, and on this trail it would be difficult to get across once it's extended down into Indianapolis. There's a plan to put a pedestrian bridge over 96th Street, which would be great because you'd certainly want that. I don't think going underneath it is probably cost effective, so they're gonna go over the top of it. But to add to that, you have Indianapolis Metropolitan Airport right there, and they're gonna have a little sky bridge or an observation deck there to where you can watch airplanes taking off and landing. That is a pretty cool use, I think, just of that airport, and the fact that a lot of people like to watch airplanes land and take off. So a pretty neat feature down there. But there's all kinds of plans as you go north and south down this trail as to what you're going to see. But it's going to take a long time. The plan isn't exactly perfectly finalized. It will be flexible. And then of course all of the funds to put a lot of that together, they're not all there right now. So it's going to be based upon funds that are available and potentially some different ideas that might come along as the years pass, but it's going to take quite a while. So 2020, December of, we at least have a good portion, and I'm looking just up here quite a ways ahead of me, 106th Street. There's a trailhead there to Cheney Creek Natural Area, which is a pretty awesome area, and then you can cut over to get to Ritchie Woods, which is another protected forest with trails going through it, a really beautiful area, has a big prairie as well. And that's all down there near the airport too. Once you get past that, the trail isn't paved just yet. So getting a little bit north of downtown right now, paved a short distance, and it hasn't made it all the way to 146th Street. So again, this is December 2020. It's just kind of an update on some of the cool things that are happening here in Fishers. So if you're thinking about moving to Fishers, or if you live someplace else in the country and you're researching places around Indianapolis to live, Fishers right here with this trail, it's making this western portion just really so much better. It needed something like this for sure. A little bit more pedestrian friendly area, and more accessibility to walk other than just downtown, just that portion. So this trail is really gonna be a big help. So if you have questions about this trail, the Nickel Plate Trail, or Fishers, Indiana in general at all, then don't hesitate to reach out. We'll always have your back with those questions. And until the next one, we'll see you later.